Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first ever podcast called Complete It or Beat It. I'm your host, Delilah Lugo, and I'm joined by my two co hosts. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Dragonius.
I'm Gil, Metal Gear Solid. Call me Gil. It's fine.
I'll
Best
put your Twitters
bromance
on there.
ever.
I'll put your Twitters on the bottom.
It's right there. Look at that.
Gil and Dragonius are best friends, and so I'm just the third wheel here, but no big deal. I'm the host, right? So
Love so strong, we're gonna put you in the middle.
that's
so
right.
what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so what is this podcast? There's so many podcasts in the world. Well, this isn't going to be reviewing video games. We're going to be reviewing the video games as a completionist, which means we'll be reviewing their platinum or their 100% if you're playing on Xbox. For those of you who don't know what that means, platinum is basically all the trophies that are available on the PlayStation. If you get all of them, you get a platinum. So we're reviewing the roadmap for to platinum the game.
This is
Now,
an
if you're on
entirely original
Xbox-
idea that has never been done before. We just want that
No,
on the table.
no. Yes, and you guys probably know what this is already anyway, but just in case you don't, we'll explain it. And on Xbox, you earn achievements. If you get all the achievements, you get 100%, and that goes to your gamer score. So me, Gil, and Elliot are trophy hunters / achievement hunters. Well, actually, me and Gil are just trophy hunters, but Elliot is also an achievement hunter, so
I do it all.
he does it all. And we want to keep this open just in case, let's say one day we play a third-party title and Elliot plays it on Xbox and me and Gil play it on PS4. We want to be able to talk in achievements and trophies, so
Yeah.
we're keeping it open.
Like an
Or if
Assassin's Creed or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if me and Elliot platinum Gears of War 6 and,
Platinum Gears of War. We're
We
already
gotta
getting the terms wrong here.
We got a couple
No.
things. 5 isn't even out
100%.
yet. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Gears of War. Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking Halo 6. I got all my first party Xbox.
Yeah, go ahead and
games
platinum
on that.
Halo 6 then, sure.
Before Halo Infinite somehow. Figure that one out. But anyway, so what are we doing today? What's today's addendum?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a platinum only God of War, aka
Boy.
That of
Boy.
also an entirely original joke.
So,
Also entirely.
clearly this is a PlayStation exclusive, so we'll be talking in trophies and platinums. Although clearly, no matter what I'm playing, I'm probably going to be talking in trophies and platinums because that's just what I'm.
That's how you're wired at this point.
That's how I'm wired. Yeah,
The two of you are
exactly.
just almost exclusively PlayStation. I'm just the multi-platform PC master race.
Oh no, I switch on occasion.
I like that. I like that. Would you guys care to share your trophy, your platinum number or your gamer score, just for bragging rights, to show that
Alright.
we're legitimate?
Legitimately have no lives. Sure, I have 119 platinum trophies. I got my PS3 in either 2009 or 2010, somewhere there, and it's just been, how can I just destroy my social life?
What's
Platinum
social life?
trophies, that'll work.
That's right.
Mission accomplished. We're done. Close the podcast. So yeah, my last platinum was, oh god, what was it? I don't remember. I'm working on Days Gone right now. Elliot?
I only have I think 24 platinums because I moonlight on PS4. On Xbox, where I spent most of my 7th gen lifestyle, was I think I finished up currently at 264 complete trophy listing or game listings. So that's all the original achievements plus all the DLC achievements.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's frightening. I had nothing but time on my hands during high school.
Yeah, I got my PS3 in 2011 when I finally got a job. So before then, I would platinum games on friends' PS3s, but I was too dumb to make my own PSN. I just did it for the fun of it. But since then, I'm working on my 84th, so I have 83, and I'm also working on Days Gone as well. Gamer score is very low because I got an Xbox pretty late, but I haven't 100%ed any games, but it might happen. We'll see. I try and use Xbox and Switch to be platforms that I don't have that I don't put pressure on myself, that
They're
I
more
kind of just
casuals
enjoy.
for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to take a break.
I just want to preface that this is going to have spoilers because we're talking about the trophy list. So it's inevitable that some things in that game will be revealed here. So if you haven't played the game and you want to experience everything to yourselves, please do watch us later.
You've also had a year or two, but I'll throw it down in the bottom. Spoiler.
Atreus is. Should we cut that out?
No. I'll
Or
bleep
bleep
it.
it.
I'll bleep it.
Okay.
I'll bleep it.
That's great. And to be clear, we're talking about the 2018 God of War, not the very first God of War. Which,
the one
fun
that
fact,
has a
God of War
platinum.
3 was my first platinum. So it's
Oh.
interesting that we're talking about God of War in our first.
God of War 3
Podcast.
was my first platinum.
Oh my God, twinsies!
Oh my god, Infamous was mine.
God of War 3 was the reason I bought a PS3. When I
Nice.
saw that game was coming out, I said, "Shut up, take the money, just slam it down." Bought the PS3 and bought the special edition that comes with the Pandora's box. I
Nice,
needed
nice.
it. Oh, I needed it.
Where are the blades?
The blades are hanging on the wall in the living room. They're to guard us against
Bring them
evil.
for this? Okay.
I'll bring them for this.
He'll probably edit this out, or maybe.
Ah!
Wow, that's intense.
Did you just jump?
Don't cut yourself. Nice.
Alright, I think we're ready to discuss God of War here.
Yeah, so sorry for people who are only listening to this and not watching the video. Elliot has the Blades of Chaos.
Given to me in like 2012 by Gil.
By some schmuck.
We went to Otakon together, and he was just like, "I know you'll like this, so here." So this is more incentive for you guys to watch the video, so you can just see the shenanigans that we have. But full-on Blades of Chaos.
Nice. Well, before we get into the roadmap, I just want to hear your guys' brief impressions of God of War. Just very quickly, like, what did you think of the game?
Alright, so can I take the floor
Yeah,
on this
Gil,
one?
go for it.
Alright, we've got two different perspectives here because I know Ellie's been a lifetime fan of that series. Me, listen, I tried God of War 1. It wasn't really for me. The gameplay style, like just the basic hack and slash where, it's like a top-down view and you don't kind of sort of auto-target your enemies, like in Arkham Asylum where you have that free flow system. I prefer that for my hack and slashes or combat games. And let's face it, God of War is like, a rage-filled, testosterone-fueled, this is the game for you. God of War 2018 is a much more mature story. It just shows like how far, characters and writers can go. And it's just, you're not just trying to kill things and carnage and slaughter. Now it's just a dad and his boy trying to bond over, the loss.
Yeah,
of
they're two
his
very
life.
different games, which is
Yeah.
great. Like, we didn't have to do any imposing like sex scenes, which was like pretty iconic for the God of War series, where you had to like
I missed
press
it.
X, circle, quarter
circle,
turn.
touch boob.
Yo, Aphrodite could get it. I'm just saying. Aphrodite could get it. Worth it every time. Don't care. Festus, I'm sorry. Worth it. Gonna kill you anyway.
Well, she is the god of love, right?
The god of doing it in the butt.
Oh my god. Well, moving on. So, Elliot, what do you do besides wanting to bang Aphrodite?
All right.
What do you-
No, that's like
I have-
90% of the experience for him.
I have such like a loving relationship with God of War. It was always just something that I gravitated towards because I love like history, and so the whole like pantheon of the gods, kind of like let's see that, but also give it some kind of like angsty teenage. I can get along with this was wonderful for me, and I loved it forever and a day. God of War 4, I'm just gonna call it colloquially because it's essentially the fourth one. It shifted.
Wasn't there?
God of War Ascension?
Yeah.
Well, there's the two PSP games and then the Ascension, which is a prequel. But in terms of like canonical sequels and moving the story forward, I will always refer to this one as God of War 4. I liked it. Initially was a little skeptical because I was like, I don't know where they're going to take this after the end of God of War 3. What's going to be happening? Ascension, I really, really hated as a game. It was the only one of the series that I did not like because it wasn't built right. The engine and the combat and everything was not built right. And my perspective is that of person who will play these games on the hardest difficulty possible for the challenge. Like, I love the trophy aspect of it that we're going to talk about, but just for you guys to understand, Gil and Assassina, they will come from that perspective of, like, the trophy. I will do the same, but my entire journey when I picked this game up from the moment I started to the moment I finished was all on the hardest difficulty possible because that's how I have fun with it.
That's pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
like my view for Metal Gear Solid. Like that's my series where I just, forget the trophies. I'm here to play that game,
Yeah.
Right. So the platinum for this game is called Father and Son. It has a difficulty of 4 out of 10. It has no difficulty related trophy, so you don't have to play it on hard for the platinum, which the other ones you did have to play it on. I think it was called Chaos mode, which is the hardest.
It varied depending on the game. So God of War has done this cool thing where depending on what the story is, the hardest difficulty is relevant. So if you were playing God of War 1, the hardest difficulty is God because that's what's understood as like the upper echelon. God of War 2, Titan is the hardest difficulty. God of War 3, Chaos is the hardest difficulty.
It takes about 30 to 40 hours to platinum this game with a collectible guide by your side, and there's 0 missable trophies, 0 glitch trophies. You only need 1 playthrough, which is perfection. I mean, this platinum was such a treat, in my opinion, which is why it's the perfect first game to discuss in our new podcast. There's 300 collectibles, right? There's artifacts, Odin's Ravens, treasure maps, dig spots, Jotnar shrines. I'm going to botch a lot of this term.
Jotnar.
I mean, you say dig spots, so I mean...
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. You guys aren't alone on this one.
You say, yeah.
Jotnar.
You gotta find the dig spots, boyo.
Wouldn't it be Jotnar or something? This is Norse, right? Aren't Jays like wise?
Well, whatever. Yontar shrines.
Yeah. Yontar, there you go. And dig spots, not dick spots. You can.
I'm still hearing dig
You said
spots.
the same thing
what are you
twice.
saying? What are you saying right now?
Do I need to see
dig,
a doctor?
Good. Not dick.
Dig. Oh, D-I-G. Okay.
Yes.
Let's just call them digs.
Yes, digs. All right, cool. It probably still sounds like dicks. All right,
Just
moving on. All right, you can free roam after you beat the game, which is why there's no missable trophies. And to get certain collectibles, you need to access late game items before you can access them. Like, for example, spoiler, you get the Blades of Chaos later, and you kind of need those to like burn these vines that are covering these chests. So it's not like you can get them as you go. You could get some of them, but you're going to have to wait to get the others and backtrack. And then it's connected, getting all the collectibles is connected to other trophies, such as like fully upgrading your health and your rage. What did you guys think of the collectible piece of this platinum?
It's generic. Let's call it what it is. It's, hey, let's find all these MacGuffins in the world and just, complete the checklist. Which it's not, depending on the game, it's not bad. Like the Ravens, I liked. It's like, hey, you find some blue thing floating out of the corner of your eye when you stand at this specific spot and look at this specific angle, and I'm going to shoot that thing. Sure, throw my axe at it. Yeah. And it's satisfying, when you get that on your own. But I feel like when you get to the point where you have to follow a guide to find everything, where's the achievement, feeling of achievement,
Yeah, absolutely. Usually when I play a game, I like to get as many collectibles as I possibly can and then clean up with a guide if I have to. Yeah. But the good thing about this game is it kind of gives you a number of, each area has like a number of what you've collected.
They streamline collectibles for sure.
I mean, as open world as the game is, though, with the collectibles, I never felt I needed a guide, and the only things that, maybe needed a guide were like a few of like all right, there's a raven in this area, but it's like that open middle area of the game. Where in this square footage of area is that particular raven, or where is it flying around? That might have been the only thing. Or for some people who didn't realize, oh wow, there's a raven in every single Valkyrie. Okay, cool. Now I have to go backtrack after fighting the Valkyrie just to quickly find the raven. That was me for like the first 2. I just didn't think about it. I was so engaged in just that combat aspect of it.
I feel like in my playthrough, like you guys, I followed a guide like at the end just for cleanup. I definitely got over half the ravens, I would say. Obviously not all of them.
Yeah, there's like 72 probably, or something.
Yeah, so probably around the 75% mark is what I did naturally. But then it's a matter of like, let me go down this checklist. Hey, I don't recall getting that one. Let me run all the way there. Let me get in my little rowboat, listen to a story by Mimir, and just, check this thing off.
But see, like, collectibles as a thing in God of War aren't new. Like, you've had collectibles since, you know, the first one with you know, the Minotaur, the Gorgon eyes, and the feathers. I was a little about the collectibles in this game, just because it did feel like a very natural progression of gaming, and how we've just come to accept, all right, well, there's X amount of, just like you said, MacGuffins, collectibles, whatevers, to go and like scrounge in the world. And I'd love to explore the world more naturalistically, but I also like that if you do throw a collectible in there, it does feel a bit more purposeful. The way this game kind of
Realistically.
skirts around this, instead of like just saying like, all right, you grabbed X amount of stuff, and it doesn't exactly give you like a health power up, it doesn't give you more magic, it doesn't give you like a rune necessarily. Those might come as like, you know, later on things, but you also have the whole aspect of it being, all right, I'm going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and go to my journal and be able to read more about this. Like Atreus is
Right.
going to kind of fill in the blanks to this. That I kind of liked as a trade-off.
Yeah. All the collectibles in the game, there was at least some kind of lore aspect to them. Like you find all the little shrine things, and you have I forget if it was Mimir or Atreus, like telling you about Atreus, like reading the shrine and saying, okay,
Yeah.
this is the deal about that god. What's the deal with them?
Yeah.
And even Odin's ravens, like think about that. They're Odin's ravens. You're realizing that even though you never see Odin in this game, you hear about him all the time, but you realize that this whole time he's spying on you.
Yep.
With those things.
He's a
so
creeper.
that's setting up for later.
Definitely. Oh, the only collectible that really fed to your leveling up is the 8 purple chests, I think. I forgot what those gave. They unlocked.
They gave you more health. Like if you got the purple
Yeah.
chest, those are the only ones that were like, oh, okay, that's a throwback, because you get the
Yeah.
apple or whatever, and you have 3 of them, and then it levels up your health, which
Yeah,
on the hardest difficulty was fucking necessary.
totally. Oh, I didn't play on hard. I played on normal, but I imagine, yes.
That last Valkyrie Queen without all those health upgrades, bruh.
Yes.
Bruh.
We will talk all about that bitch.
We'll get there later. We'll get there later.
I mean-
So I think it was a pretty painless collectible. It didn't feel grindy at all, which I appreciated. So that was good. Then there's some end game activities. There's 2 extra realms that I'm absolutely going to botch their names, so feel free to correct me. I know Gil will.
Mm,
Muspelheim
No,
You got
you're
it.
good.
and Niflheim.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Then there's the Valkyrie Queens, like Elliot mentioned, and exploring the Lake of the Nine and Vithagard.
What?
Can't say these names.
You
Vithagard.
type it?
Vithagard.
Vithagard.
Thank you.
I don't even remember this.
And in order to access Muspelheim and Niflheim, you have to get all the 8 purple chests. So it's just because it's a little shorter, talk about exploring the Lake of the Nine and Vithagard.
So as it relates to like the completion aspect of it, like I love this game for the fact that I think all of us do. It doesn't feel like you have to go out of your way for anything. Most of the stuff, like if you're already invested in just like the combat, the gameplay, the characters, just like how the look and feel of the whole game is. It does some linearity like the classic God of War, but in the sections that you go around where you do have like the lake specifically, the way
Well-
that area in its linearity opens up is super reminiscent for me to games like God of War 1 and 2, where there are, in God of War 1 there's a fulcrum area where like you'll see Ares and like he's decimating Athens. You come through that area 3 times. The first time you initially do, you kind of see what it is and he's just doing his thing. The second time you like reemerge from like a portal that wasn't there, like a secret entrance, and you now see how much progression you've made. And then the third time is after you finally like gotten everything, you're coming through there again and he's completely decimated the place. So I love from the aspect of like a completion, like a platinum, you know, like that journey is kind of reminiscent in the game. You feel like, all right, I'm getting all these trophies, I'm completing all these things, I'm going through this game, and I'm feeling that in the characters as well, from how the story progresses and how it lays out just the world.
Yeah.
Well, I think the world, just in terms of how it's designed, that's, I mean, it's not an open world game, it's a semi-open world game. You pretty much have a hub area which leads into all these different mini worlds. And if you ask me, that's the sweet spot. We have too many open world games that just take forever
Yeah.
to beat.
Yeah.
So it adds, it makes it feel like, okay, this game isn't that linear. No, sort of is.
It's
But like it has some
super
optional areas. But like, yeah, you've got a hub. You have a world where you can travel to and from different places.
And especially
Yeah,
when you
and-
get into realm traveling, where you like, hey,
Yeah.
let me go to like the Elven realm or whatever. Go to all these other different realms, and it just kind of feels like Yeah, I have all these places I can visit, but these extra places almost feel like DLC would in a normal game where it's like, all right, cool, completely different area, but it's
Isolate.
totally,
Yeah.
totally like a part of the story, part of your journey.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it seems like all the areas for the most part are linear, but the Lake of the Nine specifically is more open, which was very reminiscent of like Madagascar and Uncharted 4. So it was just really a delight to explore the Lake of the Nine, and unfog the whole map and get all the collectibles and stuff like that.
Especially when like if you so I have the Stone Mason edition, like the super crazy collector's edition of the game,
Me too.
and it comes with a book of concept art in the, or like digital concept art. Part of that is actually showing you like the center, the fulcrum point of that Lake of the Nine, that temple area,
Hmm.
and you kind of get to see like what it looks like conceptually from where you see as you first walk in, where you just see like the tip of like that top of the statue, and as the water recedes, how much more gets revealed to you level by level of how massive this tower and this temple is.
Hmm.
So I again, like I will always love that and how it relates to just as I feel like I'm platinum in this game, as I feel like I'm one trophy closer each step, each mile. I love the journey that you take in just exploring this area.
Yes. So let's move on to one of the realms, Muspelheim. Here you have fire and brimstone trials, where you have to basically do these challenges on normal, hard, and then impossible. And in order to progress to the next trial, you have to do an impossible trial, and you can choose 3 out of 5 of them. So, what did you guys think of this area?
I mean, I liked it, but one of the it's been a while since I played this. You had to repeat several trials a few times to get the full completion and full trophy, and I don't really like that because I like if I can beat it, I've already proven that I can beat it. I've proven that I have the skill to beat it. Why do I have to do this again?
So with like relation to like the platinum or like the grind of playing a
Yeah.
game like this, where it kind of feels like it doesn't falsely inflate my playtime, but if I go through it once just to get to the Valkyrie that I know is at the end of it, that's
Mhm.
fine enough for me. If I go through it again, it should be either for all right, you can unlock some special gear, maybe something
Yeah, I mean
cosmetic. You
that's what
can,
it did,
but
right?
it's even on the hardest difficulty, it's just it's filler. It doesn't really
That's
add anything to your journey. So
exactly my point. It's
so
like
that
let once be enough, you know,
right,
and
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 it is
let
for the trophies.
maybe make some optional rewards, after. But like, yeah, why do I have to do this even more times just for the trophy?
Uh,
That's a kind of trophy I don't like. Give me a trophy
Yeah.
for being able to do it, not for being able to do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, and this was basically harkening back to the old God of Wars that had challenges in a separate menu,
yep.
whereas here it was like its own realm, which I thought was a more creative way to implement a challenge mode, but still like any challenge mode could be really annoying because
It
you
could be
had
just
to,
extra.
yeah.
But
So
I at least like, or I wish that it gave you some more content. At least when you did the challenge modes in like God of War 1, 2, or 3, specifically with God of War 1 and 2, they gave you like little cutscenes if you beat them all or beat them all on the hardest. You got like
mm,
little extra cutscenes that would like flesh out the world. I
oh
almost kind of
yeah,
wish that, if the developers do fully intend, and it feels like they do, with the teaser at the end of the game that they do, it feels like they intend for.
Spoiler.
It feels like I didn't say what it was, but I'm saying like they. It seems like they intend more. It would have been nice to like say like, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, here's a little Easter egg, or here's a little like more breadcrumbs for you to follow, and kind of like flesh more into the world of the game. Whether that be what happened to the Giants, whether that be more speculation. And I think other games do that really well. Like Kingdom Hearts before 3 came out, like that entire series does a really good job of throwing these breadcrumbs at you and throwing these little things that if you're an avid like diehard fan, you can really
Absolutely, you just
take
need to own
to.
like 7 different consoles for that one, right?
No. But what I'm saying is like if you beat Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS2 that day, you did the hardest mode and you beat it, you got all that special ending stuff. You could look at that cutscene 30, 40, 50 times and do the whole kind of like super sleuth detective mode. You probably wouldn't get anything out of it, but I love that feeling of just like engagement where it respects me as a player to say, hey, if you're that invested, if you're that dedicated to do this over and over and over again to try and learn more about it, here you go. Here's a little something.
mm-hmm.
I would have liked something like that where, you know, maybe we tease what happened to the Giants, we tease where Thor is through all of this, we tease where some of the other entities are, or, you know, what happened in the time before we see where the game starts, because there's a lot of time between God of War 3 and God of War 4. I would love to have some kind of breadcrumbs dropped on me.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Even
we can
though
infer a few things, you know, like Kratos, you know, gave up on pursuing Aphrodite and went with someone else.
If you can't see this, if you're just listening to the audio, I'm cringing so hard right
they're okay. So I'm curious to hear what kind of impossible trials you guys chose to do for this platinum, unless you did all of them, which is G status to the max. And I can refresh your memory.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so there's killing enemies without getting hit, killing enemies before time runs out, killing enemies while they're in like a circle, meaning you can't hit them if they're outside of the circle, enemies quickly regenerate health, and killing enemies to increase time.
So there were a couple of places where you had lava pits. For those impossible challenges, I always picked the killing within a certain period of time, because it was always, you know, you can always stun them with Atreus, grab them, and then just chuck them into the lava. And I would just like find deuces. Or the ones where you had a cliff behind you and you could just Sparta kick them off.
Yeah.
The hardest difficulty, man. I'm just cheesing it.
How about you, Gil? Do you remember which ones you chose?
I don't, but I mean, you had to do the regular versions for all of them, and then you choose what, 3 out of 6 impossibles?
3 out of 5, yeah.
3 out of 5. I really don't remember. I'm confident that, you know, killing 100 enemies without getting hit was one that I didn't choose.
Right.
Yeah, but as for the other 4, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think before times run out was one of the ones I chose, and killing them while they're in a circle. And even the regenerating health wasn't too bad for me. But yeah, they were all annoying in a way. But I did like, what I liked about this world is it was like this big lava mountain, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, the world looked great, for sure.
Yeah.
I just wish that we could have seen Surtur or something, you know?
Yeah.
You did. It's called Thor Ragnarok.
Saw that joke coming.
You want to see him? That's as close as you get, man. But again, that plays to my point. I would have loved had I gone through some of this. You even yourself, who's not like a crazy diehard fan, would just have that question of, where's this dude? Like I'm only talking to him through this sword that's like stuck in the molten mountain.
Well, even if I'm not a diehard fan of God of War per se, which like at this point I am now, of course I'm going to get the next one. I still rank Norse mythology way higher than Greek mythology, so I definitely want to know more about these guys.
No, that's a fair opinion. But again, had I gone through, you know, all 5 impossible challenges, what could I have gotten? And it's not like they didn't do this. There's stuff that's like hidden in the game. Like, so D and I, who got the special collectors, it comes with this really cool map. And on that really cool map, there's a bunch of runes. And, you know, people deducted and found out, oh, cool, these runes translate to coordinates, and on the coordinates you do a certain, you know, camera movement pattern, and it helps you unlock this really like powerful and like worthy pommel for Kratos. And I think more stuff like that, where it just kind of like respects you enough to go, hey, if you're going to put in the work as a community, here's your reward. I would have loved some stuff like that to come out of this.
Yeah.
So you're saying you want like a trophy attached to things like that?
I'm not necessarily saying a trophy needs to be attached to every little thing, but I think
that's what we're going through this, like, in a sense of, you know, trophy completion.
Right. Like, I don't think it needs to be there, but I think if it is there, even if it's like a hidden trophy or something like that, just like a teaser, give me that little bit of like a... Give me that Pavlovian sense of like, all right, you know, like you go this far, here's your reward. You go this far, here's your reward. You're willing to kind of put in the effort to like do stuff. Here's what we do for you. Because they do that with that little pommel, they do that with the Infinity Gauntlet. Like it's such a worthwhile little thing. You don't get shit from the Infinity Gauntlet. You don't need the stones for it, but doing it, dude, why wouldn't I? It's so cool.
Right.
Well, don't you, when you have all the stones, don't you get like this new like
yeah,
super
you get this new super, but there's no trophy associated to it, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a missed opportunity. I like.
So you're saying you do want a trophy attached to like the things like that?
I would like it because
I think
stuff like that, where See, and this is maybe an argument for like, ongoing or future, but like this is one of the things that I like about Xbox now, in that how they do their trophy listings. It can get a little asinine if you're trying to be 100% completionist to it, but I love how they do community based achievements, where now for like Gears of War 4, they've added 10, 20, 30, 40 different achievements that are completely tied to things that the community said, hey, why don't we make this an achievement? Let's add this into the game.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I mean, I don't play much Xbox, but I remember I saw some Overwatch achievements that weren't like the ones that we got the platinum for. They
Right.
were like extra things when certain events came out. There would be like extra trophies, achievements
Yeah.
added to it.
And the
Yeah.
achievements
You mean like
in
the same
game,
ones that unlock the avatars in game?
right? No, well, they unlock the sprays, but sometimes like things like that. So like when they do like the maze snowball thing, or when the
Yeah,
uprising
there's,
event
like,
goes on, or the storm
like-
rising that just happened.
Yeah, and then there's like you get this avatar / icon for like getting a 80% accuracy rate with your snowballs in
Yeah.
a game, for example.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
especially on PlayStation, it shouldn't be hard for them to implement that, where how they do it for DLC almost, or how Spider-Man did it for New Game Plus. New Game Plus, those 2 trophies are its own separate addendum, not counted against you towards the platinum, but they add that much more replay value, and they add that much more reason to continue playing or keep this single player experience relevant.
Just like we don't know what's going on architecture wise, and we don't know what's going on with trophies, because we like that costs money, I'm sure, to like.
Dude,
When-
it's if the developer is willing to implement it, Sony, Microsoft, they've shown time and time again that they're on board, especially for stuff that's exclusive to them. Like, you didn't have to add the trophies for New Game Plus and Spider-Man. You could have just said, as a developer, Insomniac, all right, cool, here you go, here's the thing.
There is a difference between an event in game which requires updating on the developer's part, and not like the server, not like anything sent to Sony or anything like that. That's just in game in that development studio where they can do whatever they want. And then there's an expansion that people pay money for that does go through there and does get trophies. It's 2 completely different things.
No, I'm
And
with you, but you see, like,
I don't know the business like behind it.
like
or
I'm
what's
saying though,
allowed.
Spider-Man did their 3 DLCs, and all 3
They
of
were
those had
actual DLCs.
exactly, and they had their own thing. But completely separate to that was just adding in 2 trophies, completely their own listing, labeled New Game Plus, that weren't there day one, that didn't exist there day one, only got added there during the second DLC release.
My main point is, like, and I'm not saying I wouldn't want that. I'm just saying let's not assume how easy or hard it would be.
Done.
Yeah.
Click,
Done.
click, done.
Maybe, we don't know.
We can
But
come
it-
back to
No,
this in a
no.
future video, though.
I'm very anti armchair developer. Yeah.
I like how concise it is on PlayStation, because then I would absolutely have no life. My social life is already low, so that would just make it worse.
We had
We can
to,
confirm.
for you guys that don't understand, us getting this episode recorded involved eating chicken in the shower, and that's how I'm gonna. That's my head
That's not what
canon.
happened.
That's my head canon. So I was ready to go. I was livid. I was so happy to do this. D
Gotta
was ready
take
to
a
happy to do
shower.
this. Gil was like, I ordered chicken, and I got to take a shower before we do this. And I was like, you chew, swallow, soap, suds, rinse, repeat,
Talk about
repeat.
chicken, right? Delilah, I pulled a Miguel, right? I had to get fried chicken.
That's right. Throwback. Shout out to Miguel if you're listening. All right, so let's move on to Niflheim.
Oh.
The
See, you
sides
hear
of
that
it
all? That there, here we go again. It's like, hey, there's this really cool activity that I gotta do over and over and over again. Why?
No, but it's so much worse because it's not just trials. It's legitimately like it's grinding my ass against a cheese grater for the hope that eventually I will find
Very
Gouda
strict
or feta. And it's never I'm never finding Gouda feta. It's just this stinky blue cheese that continually comes off of Kratos when it's like, all right, so you're going to farm that first portion of the world forever. Eventually you'll get semi-strong enough with this armor that you'll be able to unlock all these chests that are asinine and unnecessary. And by the way, there's a Valkyrie Queen. Have fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
listen, you were
yeah.
doing this on the hardest difficulty. Even on normal, this was super tedious, where I
Oh my
wasn't
God.
worried about dying. It was just annoying to do.
Dude, I spent 3-hour streams sometimes just living in Niflheim and just kind of like grinding myself into a corner. Off stream sometimes.
And I'm sure your
Oh,
3 viewers were just as bored as you were. Like, come on.
ouch.
This was absolutely the most
When you're
grindy.
streaming that, no one's gonna want to watch. They want to
No,
watch.
no, no. Trust me. I was streaming on the hardest difficulty. They were there for how many times I was dying.
Ugh.
Not even to enemies. Just like, all right, I'm just gonna die to the mist because I'm nowhere near the damn save point.
It's not fun.
This was hands down the most grindy trophy slash area of the game.
Yes.
Just to be clear, it's a randomly generated area of death traps and enemy spawns. And you basically, from enemies, you get a currency that's exclusive to Niflheim. And they're called Mist Echoes. And so basically, you get the Mist Echoes, and you're able to buy Mist armor from a merchant that's in Niflheim. And you have to open 5 chests and 3 realm tiers. Altogether, that's a total of 68,500 Mist Echoes. It's a freaking grind.
Oh yeah.
I did not enjoy this area at all.
I enjoyed it once, like when I beat it once.
Once I killed the Valkyrie Queen and I had like the highest level armor that you could get from that area, I was like, all right, cool, I'm done. I'm tired of collecting these ghost farts. We're leaving. We're leaving.
Ghost farts.
That's what they were. Forget Mist Echoes. I was fighting half the time. The enemies spawned for me were just endless werewolves. So I literally was just like fighting off rabid dog farts. That's all it was.
Yeah, and you can lose the currency. Like, let's say you're going through the area and then halfway through you die. Anything that you earned just goes away.
Welcome
That's
to Dark Souls. God of Souls.
I made the joke before I could.
Yeah. So I guess none of us liked this area, right?
No,
Is that safe to
Niflheim
say?
can go.
I liked it, up
Once.
until I beat it, and then none of the extra 50 times I had to do it.
At the end of it, though, like, I was okay with all the lore stuff that it did, where it's like, okay, this dude came here to learn how to craft this crazy armor, turn
We're not
this,
talking
like...
about lore, we're talking about trophies.
Well, no, I'm
That's
saying,
necessary.
like, I appreciated the lore and everything, but the trophies related to it, for me, in my opinion, were just like, all right, cool, unlock all these chests. I'm fine with. It was super, super grindy, which I get, hey, let me add time to my gameplay, but it didn't do anything for me. It really just felt like a grind.
Yeah, the realm tier is completely unnecessary. We didn't need all that. The chests were fine.
Yeah, the chests were fine. Killing the Valkyrie was fine. The sheer, like, if it was a much bigger area, but like once you get to the point where you can go through and literally do a lap around the area and come back and still be fine because your armor's that high leveled up, you really kind of realize I'm just going through a maze. It's not really that interesting. It's kind of at this point I'd almost rather go back to Muspelheim.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, as you're going through, your health depletes, right? So
Yeah,
that's
and the
even
only
more
thing
annoying.
the only thing that stops your health from depleting is getting the armor.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get the Nifl armor to be able to withstand that area. Which, I mean, it's
Yeah.
cool. It gives you a reason to, like, use area-specific armor and then go back to the Valkyrie Queen and go, all right, here's all my Valkyrie armor. Let's go.
Yeah, at a certain point, I got so annoyed, I just started deconstructing the armor just to get the Mist Echoes, so I didn't have to keep grinding.
Yeah. Again, it's just whatever I can do to get out of here sooner. I'm not a fan of that kind of a trophy. I can do a little bit of grinding, but if I was a hardcore grindcore fan, I would totally go and play an RPG.
Yeah. And it's not like this area was pretty either. It was just, like you said, a big old ghost fart.
Exactly right. You were just looking for this old crotchety dead dwarf's armor.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I don't even use it because the armor's only relevance is in that realm.
Right.
But the trophy,
And to the last piece of this platinum is the Valkyries and the Valkyrie Queen. So
these are probably the best parts of this trophy list.
Absolutely. How long were
Well-
your fights with the Valkyrie Queen?
Oh,
Well, we're not playing on Give Me God of War difficulty, so it didn't take us like 3 years like you.
Fair.
Listen, I'm not proud of this. That was the one fight in the game where I was like, screw it, I'm lowering the difficulty to easy. I'm not proud of it, but I did it. She's a very
I did
okay.
too.
I didn't want to, like, I know that I can sit there playing that fight repeat. Like, I beat Sekiro, I know the drill. Just lose to the boss over and over until you learn her patterns. I just didn't want to spend like a week doing that. I just want, okay, let me beat this, and then handful of tries on easy mode, and then easy peasy.
Took me 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
So I have on my YouTube channel, shameless plug.
Like and subscribe, everyone.
a
It's
11-minute video of just the final attempt I did on the Valkyrie Queen. It is epic and on the hardest difficulty. Enjoy.
Nice. Yeah, I also bumped it down to easy, but I was only level 7 when I fought her, and I feel like this is more doable even on a harder difficulty. If you're like a level 8 or 9 instead, it makes the world of a difference. And just to like for some context, there's 8 Valkyries sprinkled all over the world, and once you beat those 8 Valkyries, you put their heads on like this
They're
circular
helmets, to be fair.
helmets, sorry,
They just
not their heads.
decapitated,
That's
but there are enough decapitated
morbid.
heads in the game. You know, they need some more.
Sorry, I got a little morbid.
Yeah.
Um, you
Boy, fetch the heads.
The near bid.
there's like thrones in a circle, and you put each Valkyrie helmet on the throne, and then it unlocks the Valkyrie Queen.
And when you
Uh,
kill her, that's how you win Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she was
Based
harder
on
than the
Xander.
last boss by far. Probably one of the hardest bosses, if especially if you don't play like Souls games. She was like up there as a difficult boss. But I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear like what was your guys' strategy, especially you, Mr. Hard Mode.
Gil, I'll
It's-
let you kind of start this one out.
Okay, it's a soul strategy. It's good. I played on normal, which means that no boss gave me trouble in that whole game
Mhm.
until this one.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of the Valkyries, depending on their specific strategies, but this was like, this is the one. Honestly, as soon as that fight starts, unload all my abilities, unload all my powerful attacks that need some recharge time. Keep my distance, always attack with Atreus constantly with the electric arrows or whatever he does. And yeah, just learn the timing, learn the parries, get in a hit
Learn
or
what
two when
you
you can.
can parry.
Parry what you can parry and dodge the hell out of the way until she grabs you, grinds your head against the floor, kills you in one hit, and you have to start the whole thing over again.
Learning with the Valkyrie Queen, the hardest thing is that you have a max punish that you can do to her. You can stun her. God bless you if you can stun her. But you have to learn what combo strings you can do, what do the most amount of damage, and that you have kind of like a fighting game almost. You have like your combos, your linkers, your finishers, and your enders. And you can usually get through one solid string to do as much damage as you can. It's not going to be a short fight, and that was my initial like hurdle, because I was going in there thinking I can totally do this in a quick short fashion. And like I said,
Quick, short 4 hours, yeah.
yeah, no, 4 hours of learning that I couldn't do it, and then it's an 11-minute fight for me on the hardest difficulty, and I went through the ringer of switching my abilities, leveling up different abilities, because by the end of the game you have so much currency it does not matter. Like you can just level everything to the umpteenth degree, which I appreciate, just because especially on hardest it helps. But
Everything has a level limit, right? Depending
yeah,
on the-
but I mean, like just being able to like have the currency to like level up all of Kratos and Atreus's abilities was really helpful, because by the end of the game, it gives you the full freedom to say, all right, all my stuff is as powerful as it's gonna be. So when I come to a challenge, I can kind of pick and switch to see what'll fit. But for the Valkyrie Queen specifically, Gauntlet of the Ages was indispensable, just to have that Infinity Gauntlet to hit her with the 1, 2, 3 that it does. Having the honest, like, all right, I have to switch to the Blades of Chaos to do some special attack damage, and then knowing that your axe to try and freeze her is your best bet, along with the
Yeah.
electric arrows to try and stun her. But the hardest thing for me to dodge was always that one where she like rushes at you and you don't know if she's coming from the right or the left. And it wasn't until one of my viewers pointed out to me, hey, if you see her wing do this, dodge this way. That's what
Right.
just finally clicked it for me, and I was like,
Yeah.
finally helped me out.
This is really a Souls boss in God of War.
Yeah. But I think that
Totally.
is my hands down, that is my favorite trophy to go for, because it feels the most rewarding when you finally complete it. And then after you've
Favorite-
done that, go home.
Favorite's
Yeah.
one thing, but like that's one of those sense of accomplishment trophies. Like, hey, I did this thing that most of the people playing this video game did not or could not do.
Yeah. Or had it done down to easy.
You're gonna have to cut
Well,
out this next bit.
Sorry, it's a little
I
darky. I thought I should
actually-
throw some shade.
I actually found the Berserker Resurrection Stone to be super clutch, because it basically when you die, it revives you with full health. That
Of
was
course.
such like that made everything so much better. Although sometimes it didn't work for me, which pissed me off, especially when I was about to kill her and then I wound up dying
I
anyway.
remember that happening, and I remember there being a reason. I just don't remember what that reason was.
It's
Oh,
because you're not
okay.
completely invulnerable when you first use it. Like you have to like activate it, so there's like an animation delay there where she can hit you. But I at least
Right.
love that the game's forgiving enough that if you use it and die, you don't have to buy another one.
Right, exactly. Yeah, totally. And she has a bunch of unblockable attacks, so that's what made it really hard because you had to know, like you said, the prompts.
Hmm.
And usually it's like a red like circle in her body when she's about to do an unblockable attack, so that was a helpful little cue. But I mean, either way, like having my cooldown maxed out and equipping like you said the frost axe rune or like this rampage like blades of chaos thing and just like unleashing the runes on her before she does those unblockable attacks really helped me. And I feel like if I went back to fight her it wouldn't be as much of a pain in the ass because like now I know how to approach it. But like just learning that process, it was really really grueling.
It really felt like like you guys said, it's the greatest challenge the game has to offer, and I don't think anyone who's played this game or reviewed this game will deny that.
Yeah.
Because she is the embodiment of all the other Valkyries you fought. But now, all right, here, play the guessing game of what I'm going to hit you with.
Yeah. I used the Dwarven armor set. Did you guys remember what you used?
Nope.
Valkyrie armor.
Oh,
I went for the Valkyrie armor that I had, which only pisses me off because you don't get the full set until you beat her. And at the time that you beat her, it's like, all right, cool. I have the most powerful armor in the game. I'm done. All right, good.
I remember I spent most of my
Boy,
game
let's
with.
go home.
I think it was the Muspelheim armor, whichever one that just like boosts your attack like crazy. I just think I went like full
Yeah,
offense.
it's probably the Mooseful Heim
yeah.
armor
Yeah,
that does
so that
that.
was like my main armor once I unlocked it.
Nice. Yeah, the only reason I use the Dwarven set because when you do a runic attack, you're invulnerable if you
Hmm.
have that
Uh-huh.
armor set. So I
There
definitely
there were
needed that.
certain runic attacks that you could do that had invincibility frames on startup that
Oh,
Mhm.
would help you stun her. So there's certain unblockable she would do that if you
yeah,
use like a certain magic ability with the axe or with the blades, she can't hit you through it and you are invulnerable or you take minimal damage. And that way you can kind of immediately when she's done, she is vulnerable and she doesn't fly away immediately. You can get her into a hit stun combo. So
yeah.
it's again picking your battles.
Yep, absolutely.
But still, favorite
So
trophy in the game for me is going to be
likewise.
yeah.
What other types of
Totally.
trophies do we have besides story trophies?
Um,
Uh,
side quests.
yep, side quests and favors. So there's a Dangerous Skies trophy where you free all three dragons
That was
that are
cool.
there's like three of them around the world. That was super dope. And then there's like Oil and Water, where you do quests for Brock and Sindri, and you unlock two level 6 armor sets.
Hmm.
And then Unfinished Business, where you're basically assisting all 5 wayward spirits that are around the Lake of the Nine.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about like main quest and side quest trophies? Because main quest will usually be like, hey, you beat 10% of the story, here's a trophy. You beat 50% of the story, here's a trophy, and obviously one for completion. And then side quests, it's usually like beat this whole chain of side quests, and we'll give you a trophy for that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually found this to be fun. All the wayward spirits, the dragons, like they were all fun. In some other games, it's a little annoying. It's kind of like it feels like a chore instead, but this was very entertaining to
Nothing
me.
Would you have
felt out
done
of the
it with
way.
those? If it didn't have a trophy for it, would you have still done it in this game?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it's like you said, it's an open world game that isn't completely open.
Yeah.
So it even though you're going through this world, it's not like a Red Dead 2 or GTA or Days Gone or any of these open world games or like Horizon where all right, there's collectibles, there's this, there's that, there's all these different things, and my God, there's too much of a map for me to go through. This is going to be tedium, and it's going to feel that way no matter how much gamer score or how the level of the trophy pans out. Whereas at least with this game, like I think part of the reason why we picked it was because it is such a straightforward um, trophy list. It's such a straightforward thing that you'll want to do it, or it doesn't feel like a chore, with the exception of obviously Niflheim and Muspelheim that we'd already talked about.
I mean,
Yeah.
all things considered, looking at the trophy list, it's pretty generic for a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's a trophy for your collectibles. Here's a trophy for some of the grindy things. Here's a trophy for the optional boss, the optional side quest, and that's it.
It's very
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, no, look at your first party exclusives that do something similar. Spider-Man does it. Infamous does it. You know, like
Yeah.
a lot of your first party PlayStation games have generic trophy lists like this. Uncharted
I mean-
has a little bit of that, but Uncharted at least does a lot more of the go out of your way to see something really cool. Here's a trophy for that. Or
Right.
go out of your way to kind of like do something a certain way, play this scenario again, but from a different perspective. Do that.
Mhm.
Or, hey, remember that time we screwed up at E3? All right, do that. Here's a trophy for
Oh,
that.
that was
was
so
great.
good.
Yes.
I love that. We should talk. We should have a whole episode on Uncharted 4.
I
Maybe
would
we'll do
happily
that.
replay that game again.
Yeah. I love trophies like that to do random stuff in the world. Like, oh, go caress this like seal that's in a museum or something like that for like 5 seconds, and then you get
All right,
SEEL
whatever
or
animal
SEAL?
caress-
what? It's whatever. This SEAL.
Oh,
A
okay.
seal.
Okay.
Like a actual creature. The
Who
seal.
or what you caress is your own business. We're
Love
not
is
gonna
love.
do-
Love is love. Not going to question it.
But yeah, I agree. Like my favorite trophies are the ones that I just would not do in a game otherwise, but still really cool. Just like Easter egg trophies are my favorite like category of trophies. Not
Same.
necessarily accomplishment trophies like, hey, you beat this really hard boss. It's more like, hey, here's this really cool in joke on the development team that now you're a part of because you did this trophy, you know?
Hmm.
So for people who, like, I know we're talking about God of War, but like Uncharted, when they demoed Uncharted in E3, the screen froze for like a solid however long it
30.
was, and like the character 30 seconds.
Yep, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So and like the character's not moving, like the game's idling and it's still running, but no one's moving. It doesn't respond to controls. And when you actually get that game when it was released, once you get to that point in the game, if you stand there and don't move for 30 seconds, you get a trophy for that. It's
so
like a
good.
clever, yeah, it's a joke. It's a clever nod. It's not something you would, you know.
I didn't do it the first time. I didn't see the E3 press conference, so I had no idea it was a thing until
Yeah.
I went through the listing and went, all right, what do I have to do left for my platinum? And it was a
Yeah.
beautiful thing where when I learned about it in retroactively, I completely appreciated that it was in there. I wish
Yeah.
more stuff like that was in God of War or other games because it just adds that much more enjoyment in being someone that hunts these platinums. Because your average Joe that just wants to play the game for the story or play the game for the multiplayer or whatever aren't going to go for them, and that's fine. That's a cool way. But if you're listening to this, if you're a part of this podcast adventure that we're doing, you probably are one of those people that either likes the concept or you yourself are a trophy hunter and can kind of relate with what we're going on about. So you probably let us know in the comments below or let us know somewhere on social media, you know, if you've had any instance where you're like, dude, I wish that for this game that I love, this trophy existed.
You made it this far
Yeah.
into the
For
podcast.
us, I recommend South Park: The Stick of Truth or The
Oh,
Fractured
dude,
Butthole
yeah.
because it has so many of those. So if
Farting
you're
on a
into-
Nazi baby fetus. I did that completely randomly, and when the trophy popped, I felt dirty.
Now, as someone who hasn't played the South Park games, I'm just sitting here going, "What the fuck?"
you would love them. I really think you would like them.
I hear that. I just don't have time for.
You would love
Yeah.
moments about them, just
Yeah.
for the humor, but yeah, I don't think it'd be something you'd be crazy
I'm a
about.
South Park fan, believe
Yeah.
it or not.
It's cool. We still love you.
Eh,
But
But for the overall, like for this game, for the overall, would you guys in that case because
complete it or beat it.
complete it or beat
Right.
it?
complete
the
it or
thing.
beat it. What's the rating?
All right,
You know what?
I'm gonna wholeheartedly go on and say for my vote, complete it. There's no question. You complete this game, you do everything this game has to offer, and you sit and wait patiently for them to give us God of War 5 2 boy son man thing.
Yeah.
Okay, then for my part, I will say I don't regret getting the platinum because it's kind of what I do and I enjoyed it. But for an average gamer, I don't think you need to complete this one. I think you can beat it and get like nearly all the story that you need because, like we said, the trophies don't really show you anything new, doesn't tease anything new. So I think you can get a good enough experience without beating it, with just beating it and not completing it. Delilah, do you want to be the tiebreaker here?
I would say complete it because if you complete it, you have done everything in the game. But if that's not your thing, at least to fight the Valkyrie Queen, because you need
Yes.
to complete Niflheim and Muspelheim in order to unlock the Valkyrie Queen. In which case, I say complete it, and the other side stuff is just fun.
Yeah, there's trophies I would say you should get regardless, like Valkyrie Queen, but like, I
Yep.
don't think you need to do Muspelheim. I don't think you do need to do Niflheim. I don't think you need to get those.
Yeah.
are actually.
You have to do it to get the Valkyrie
to get the
Queen.
Valkyrie Queen,
Well,
yeah, because you
yeah,
need
but
to fight
not the
those two
grinding
Valks.
part of it. It's not the grinding part of it.
Oh,
Well,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just have to go through Niflheim to get the Valk, and you don't have to do the crazy grind.
Yeah.
But I
that's-
still
Yeah, but-
say for the trophy portion of it, I do miss stuff like that's the world building where when you beat and you got the platinum for God of War 3, it gives you a website to go to, and when you go to that website, it actually just shows you like rainfall, and then if you kept going to that website daily or weekly or monthly, there were certain updates to that website that kind of teased at another God of War thing that you wouldn't have gotten to unless you either A, looked at it once it was completed, or B, got the platinum. So it kind of felt more fleshed out and like a reason to complete it. So I can kind of see your point. Personally, it's always still going to be a complete just because I'm a diehard God of War fanboy.
I feel like for the purposes of this podcast, because we all complete everything, so I think this should just be like for an average gamer, should they be looking to complete or beat? You
I
know?
say complete still, just because it's a great.
I'm still on the beat, partial complete if you want, if you'd rather. There are parts of that I think you should do and go out of your way to do. Not everything.
You complete it.
I just want to say I wish they would have added a trophy to go home. And
Yes.
this might bring up a spoiler discussion, a major spoiler discussion, but I feel like
It's kind of a sore spot for people, don't worry.
I don't know if we should say it, but it was
Yeah.
such a Marvel ending. Okay, fuck it. Yeah, there's
Oh, yeah.
spoilers.
Yes,
We
skip
warned
to
you
this part in the video. Elliot, you're going to edit this
I will.
to avoid the spoiler.
guys. Yeah, so at the end of the game, what was it? One of the dwarves that tells you to go home? I forgot who
Probably.
tells you to go home.
No, it's
Almost Fimbulwinter.
once you've done everything and you've killed the Valkyrie Queen and like you've completed everything, it's Mimir who's just like, all right,
Yeah.
we've done everything, you know, I guess we can go home, or you know that's it, or Kratos himself that's just like, you know, like this is it, boy, we're going home.
Yeah. And I know so many people that just didn't. They were like, "Oh, the credits are rolling. Like that's it. I'm done with the game." Nope. Even though it's not a trophy, like which it could be, I would have loved that. But either way, I would have done it, and I did it, and it was.
I mean,
Perfect,
that's the final objective of the game. Like your end game stuff. You have free roam, sure, but your end game is to go home. That's like the
Yes.
last mission you do. And I forget if you only get the Thor that like special ending cutscene if you complete everything, or if that's just like a hey you
normal beat the game, I believe.
Yeah,
got it.
as long as you beat the game. Yeah.
So yes, that's the end game where you see Thor, and then there's another end game where you see Thor, and you know you should go see that in theaters if you haven't already.
It's not a sponsor.
Yeah, we just want to thank PowerPix for giving us roadmaps for all our platinums. And for this recording, we did look at the trophy roadmap and list to help us with this conversation. So thank you very much, PowerPix. So where can everyone follow you guys? Twitter, whatever.
Don't follow me, I'm boring as hell.
Links below underneath
Okay.
us. I'll in post. I'll throw your Twitter handles because it's probably one of the best social media to follow people on. If you want, let me know. I'll throw down your Instagrams as well. Whatever those might be.
The gram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that thing.
I'm Assassina-san everywhere. Sometimes an underscore, sometimes a dash. So you'll
Right.
find me. Hopefully.
They can have their links down there. I'm gonna be special and have my link right up here. And you can find me there on Twitter. Thank you, Elliot, for your post editing magic.
I got you.
Please
man.
please don't put like a dick or something there. That would suck. I gave him ideas.
Dick spot.
Dick spot, yeah.
Dick spot. There you go. Full circle, guys. All right. So from us at Completed or Beat It, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys all on the next episode of whatever we do. I know that's one of my things that I know it's mine. I always do that.
You're my favorite 8 people in the world right now.
Your favorite 8 people in the world. Toodles!
Peace.